Now, for more on the energy debate in Congress and T. Boone Pickens' plan to reduce U.S. dependence on foreign oil, we bring in two members of the U.S. Senate. Texas Senator Kay Bailey Hutchison is a member of the Republican leadership. Democrat Maria Cantwell of Washington is a member of the Energy Committee. Thanks to both of you for joining us here on Money in Politics. Senator Cantwell, let me ask you first about the legislation on the floor. Boone Pickens says that speculation bill isn't going to do that much because it's all about supply and demand right now. Speculation is not the issue. Is he wrong?
Well, I will say this. I am for the Pickens plan as it relates to investing in wind and solar and making sure that we diversify into energy efficiency. So I like his commercials, and I think he's on the right track there. I think if you sat down and talked to him about transparency in oil futures markets, he would agree that everybody ought to have transparency. We ought to know who is actually playing in these markets and make sure that the regulators do their job so that consumers are protected.
Well, I know you didn't have the benefit of hearing our interview, but I did press him on that point. Is greater transparency needed? He said he felt that transparency is plenty good enough right now. This is strictly supply and demand. Again, you all feel very differently on the Democratic side of the aisle. This legislation is going to make a difference?
I do feel that transparency is an important issue, and we've gotten away from that in legislation that was passed in 2000. So we actually have West Texas intermediate crude sold basically on an exchange that is a dark market that isn't properly regulated in the United States. So we have some oil futures that have to meet certain requirements and others that don't. And I think that Americans want to make sure that there aren't dark markets and that there aren't ill towards things going on in the futures market.
Senator Hutchison, where do you stand on this issue of speculation? There are a lot of airline CEOs, including a few from your home state of Texas, who feel speculation is a problem. They're supporting this legislation. Are you?
Well, I think we certainly all agree that transparency is important in speculation markets. But the key is this is a supply and demand issue. And if we want to bring down the speculation, we have to show that we're going to increase supply. That will bring down speculation because there's no reason to hedge that prices are going to go up. So I think we do want transparency. But if we pass a transparency bill in speculation and we don't do anything to increase supply, nothing is going to happen to the price of oil and the gasoline at the pump. We cannot do that. It would be a sham to the American people. We have to have a full energy plan that will use all of our natural resources in an environmentally safe and friendly way to get out of this mess, as America should do. We should do it all together with our own natural resources.
Senator Cantwell, how about that? This legislation right now doesn't include anything on the production side. Are Democrats willing to consider that?
Oh, we definitely want to move beyond petroleum, and so there will be a supply side offered by the Democrats, and it will include everything from battery technology to making sure that we have good home domestic supply, and looking, as I said, about moving faster on those kinds of things like wind and solar that can help us with our high cost of natural gas. Right now, 50% of the electricity grid comes from natural gas supply. And if we can diversify, as Mr. Pickens is saying, onto these other things and cut down on that, we can use those natural gas resources for other things. So,
but let me be clear, Senator Cantwell, that's not going to be included in this piece of legislation. Is that right?
It is what's going to be offered as part of this legislation is other alternatives to move forward, including other supply issues. So hopefully we can move forward on that on the floor and have a healthy debate.
Senator Hutchison, your response to that? Are you optimistic this is going to be a healthy debate and in the end of the day a compromise product Republicans and Democrats can agree on?
I think that if we have a healthy and open debate, if we are able to put our amendments in, that is the best thing that we could do for our country right now. We are very hopeful that it will be a real debate. Today, the appropriations markup that was going to include amendments that would open up the Outer Continental Shelf and maybe even shale in Colorado, Wyoming, and Utah was canceled. It wasn't postponed, it was canceled. So that indicates to me that the majority is not going to try to have an open debate, but I hope I'm wrong. If they have an open debate and we're allowed to have amendments and we have a balanced plan that includes production in all the sectors, then I think we can meet this problem together in a bipartisan way, and that's what we should be doing for America.
Senator Cantwell, any chance Democrats are going to agree to open up the OCS to more exploration and production?
Well, this is something that is about a debate on the Senate floor, but I can tell you that I know that people here in the United States Senate understand that only a very small amount of what we need for the future is going to come from oil. And so people want to move beyond that. We want to make sure that we are going to do something, not wait till 2030, because no one driving around in America today at these prices can wait till 2030 for a solution. So we want to be more aggressive today.
Senator Hutchison, what are you hearing right now from your constituents back home? If you all come back without some sort of agreement on an energy bill in the next little bit to deal with prices, aren't both of you going to hear about it back home?
Oh, I think people want the Congress to act, and I think the polls show that people want us to drill for the natural resources that we have. That includes oil, it includes natural gas, it includes wind and solar, it includes nuclear power plants. People of America are pretty smart. They know that we have to produce more in order to get out of this mess. And I think it should be a balanced across-the-board plan. I don't think we should exclude oil and natural gas. I don't think we should exclude any source that can be done in an environmentally friendly way. And there are a lot out there that are being ignored and kept off limits right now that we would like to see changed.
All right. Senator Hutchison, Senator Campbell, thanks to both of you for joining us here on Money in Politics. We'll follow the debate on the floor.